In the world of faith, certain voices stand out, not just for their spiritual guidance, but for their ability to challenge, inspire, and lead in times of change. One such figure is Luis Antonio Joaquim Tagle, a name that resonates with many around the globe. With a heart for the marginalized and a passion for inclusivity, Tagle's journey within the Catholic Church has been anything but ordinary. Whether advocating for social justice, promoting interfaith dialogue, or taking a bold stance on divisive issues, he has made his mark. Often compared to Pope Francis for his progressive outlook, Tagle's approach to faith has sparked both admiration and controversy. In today's video, we'll dive into the life of this influential leader, exploring his remarkable contributions to the Church, his impact on Filipino society, and his role in shaping modern theological conversations. Stay tuned as we unravel the legacy of Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. Luis Antonio Tagle, early life and education. Luis Antonio Joaquim Tagle was born on June 21, 1957 in Manila, Philippines, into a family with a strong Catholic heritage. Growing up in a deeply religious household, Tagle's parents, who were both devout Catholics, played a significant role in shaping his spiritual path. From an early age, he felt a deep connection to the faith, and it was clear that he was destined for a life of service within the Church. His formative years were filled with teachings about compassion, devotion, and the importance of helping those in need, all of which would later influence his work in the Church. Tagle's academic and spiritual journey began at Imus Cathedral School, where he received his early education. It was during this time that he developed a keen interest in theology, which ultimately led him to pursue seminary studies. After completing his secondary education, he entered the diocesan seminary, where he underwent rigorous theological training. His studies focused not only on traditional religious doctrines, but also on the pressing social issues of the time, such as poverty and injustice. This combination of theological rigor and social concern laid the foundation for Tagle's future role as a progressive voice within the Church. His commitment to both faith and social justice would later become a hallmark of his career, guiding him in his path to becoming a beloved leader in the Catholic community. Cardinal Tagle's priestly ordination. Luis Antonio Tagle's path to priesthood was marked by a deep commitment to both spiritual and pastoral service. He was ordained a priest on February 27, 1982, for the Diocese of Imus, a significant milestone in his spiritual journey. Following his ordination, Tagle embarked on a career dedicated to shepherding the faithful. His initial assignment saw him serve as an associate pastor at San Agustin Parish in Imus, where he immersed himself in the life of the local community. His work involved not just administrative duties, but also connecting with parishioners and providing spiritual guidance to those in need. In the years that followed, Tagle's talents for leadership and mentorship became increasingly evident. He was appointed as the spiritual director and later the rector of the diocesan seminary, a role that allowed him to shape the future of the Church in a unique and impactful way. During his tenure, he became known for his deep connection with seminarians, inspiring them to live lives of compassion, humility, and service. Tagle emphasized the importance of forming priests who were not only theologically knowledgeable, but also deeply engaged with the struggles and hopes of the people they served. He believed that a priest's role extended beyond the pulpit and into the hearts of the faithful, and this approach became a hallmark of his pastoral ministry. Under his guidance, many seminarians grew to see the priesthood not just as a vocation, but as a calling to be leaders who would embody the core values of the Church: compassion, integrity, and service to the marginalized. Cardinal Tagle's early clerical work thus laid the foundation for his later, broader influence within the Church, where his commitment to social justice and pastoral care would continue to define his ministry. Studies abroad and international influence. Between 1985 and 1992, Luis Antonio Tagle embarked on a transformative academic journey in the United States, where he pursued advanced degrees in theology. His time abroad provided him with invaluable opportunities to expand his intellectual horizons and deepen his understanding of Catholic doctrine. Studying at institutions such as the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C., Tagle was exposed to a diverse range of theological perspectives that would later influence his inclusive and progressive approach to church teaching. During these years, he explored the intersections of faith, reason, and social issues, developing a comprehensive view of theology that emphasized the importance of engaging with contemporary challenges, such as poverty, injustice, and human dignity. This broader intellectual formation not only shaped his pastoral ministry but also positioned him as a forward-thinking leader within the Church. Tagle's studies in the U.S. helped refine his theoretical approach, enabling him to bring a global perspective to his future roles. His international exposure was further solidified when Pope John Paul II appointed him to the International Theological Commission, a prestigious body responsible for advising the Vatican on theological matters. Tagle's contributions to the commission were marked by his deep commitment to exploring the nature of faith in the modern world. His insights on how the Church could respond to contemporary issues while remaining rooted in tradition gained him recognition as a theologian with both intellectual rigor and pastoral sensitivity. Through his work with the International Theological Commission, Tagle played a crucial role in shaping important discussions on church doctrine, helping guide the Church in navigating the complexities of modern society. Leadership role in the Philippines. In 2011, a significant moment in the history of the Philippine Catholic Church came when Pope Benedict XVI appointed Luis Antonio Tagle as the 32nd Archbishop of Manila. This pivotal appointment solidified Tagle's position as one of the most influential figures in the Church, not just in the Philippines, but across the global Catholic community. As Archbishop of Manila, Tagle inherited a challenging and prestigious role, overseeing the largest and most prominent archdiocese in the country, home to millions of Catholics. His appointment came at a time when the Philippines, like many countries, faced complex social issues, and Tagle was poised to make a profound impact on both the spiritual and social landscape of the nation. Tagle's leadership as Archbishop was marked by a strong commitment to social justice, a passion that had been evident in his earlier roles within the Church. He used his position to speak out against the deep social inequalities that plagued the Philippines, particularly the struggles faced by the country's poorest and most marginalized communities. Whether it was the urban poor living in slums or rural communities battling against landlessness, Tagle's voice became a powerful force for social change. His sermons and public statements consistently emphasized the importance of advocating for the oppressed, echoing the teachings of the Church on human dignity and the preferential option for the poor. Beyond his advocacy for the poor, Tagle also took a firm stand on various human rights issues. He was vocal in his criticism of systemic corruption, inequality, and government policies that perpetuated poverty. One of his most notable interventions was his stance against the controversial reproductive health law, which led to significant public discourse. While his views on certain social issues, particularly regarding contraception and family planning, sparked debates, his core message remained one of compassion, solidarity, and justice for those most in need. His leadership also saw a focus on the revitalization of the Church in the Philippines, encouraging a more active, engaged, and compassionate faith community. Under his guidance, the Archdiocese of Manila prioritized outreach programs, with a strong emphasis on educating the young and fostering a deep sense of service to others. Tagle's approach to the role of Archbishop was characterized by an inclusive pastoral style that made him highly regarded by both the clergy and the laity. His humility, openness, and commitment to the values of the left a lasting legacy on the people and society in the Philippines. Progressive theological views. Luis Antonio Tagle's leadership in the Church is characterized by a commitment to progressive theological views, particularly in the area of social justice. Drawing heavily from the Catholic Church's social teachings, Tagle has consistently championed the preferential option for the poor, which emphasizes a special concern for the marginalized and disadvantaged in society. He has been vocal in his belief that the Church must focus its efforts on those who are most vulnerable, urging clergy and laypeople alike to be agents of compassion and transformation in a world that often overlooks the poor. His advocacy extends beyond mere charity, as he calls for structural changes in society that will alleviate poverty and promote greater equality. While Tagle is considered conservative on certain issues, particularly abortion, his views on LGBTQ+ rights present a more progressive stance. In contrast to the traditional approach of the Catholic Church, which has been largely critical of LGBTQ+ issues, Tagle has made calls for more empathy and understanding. He advocates for a pastoral approach to LGBTQ+ individuals, emphasizing the importance of recognizing their dignity and human rights. Tagle's leadership encourages the Church to adopt a more inclusive attitude, encouraging dialogue while still remaining faithful to core Catholic doctrine. His stance challenges the Church to rethink how it engages with LGBTQ+ issues, creating a more compassionate space for all people, regardless of their sexual orientation. Tagle's leadership style is marked by his pastoral sensitivity and intellectual depth. He is known for listening carefully to diverse perspectives and fostering inclusive conversations within the Church, encouraging open-mindedness without compromising essential teachings. This approach has made him a beloved figure among many who see him as a bridge between traditional Catholicism and the evolving needs of the modern world. Standing against extrajudicial killings. Luis Antonio Tagle's leadership and influence in the Philippine Catholic Church were significantly tested during the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte, particularly during Duterte's highly controversial war on drugs. The campaign, launched in 2016, was notorious for its violent and often extrajudicial approach to dealing with drug-related crime. Thousands of suspected drug dealers and users were killed by police or vigilante groups, drawing widespread international condemnation and stirring fierce debate within the Philippines. As one of the most influential figures in the Church, Tagle's response to this issue became a focal point for his moral leadership, as he sought to navigate the delicate balance between speaking out for justice and maintaining a diplomatic stance. Duterte's war on drugs, a violent crackdown. When President Duterte assumed office in 2016, he made his stance on drugs clear by initiating a brutal war on drug trafficking and use. The government's actions led to a surge in extrajudicial killings, where law enforcement officers as well as vigilante groups executed suspected drug offenders without trial or due process. The government justified these killings by claiming they were part of an effort to protect society from drug-related crime. But this rationale was deeply controversial, as it resulted in thousands of deaths, many of which were of individuals with no direct connection to drug trade activities. The sheer scale of the violence, combined with reports that many victims were either unarmed or were executed without trial, sparked outrage not only in the Philippines, but also internationally. Human rights groups condemned the actions as violations of fundamental rights to life, while the Catholic Church, traditionally a strong moral voice in the Philippines, found itself at odds with Duterte's policies. Tagle, as the Archbishop of Manila, became a critical voice within the Church, offering a moral response to this crisis. Tagle's cautious criticism, a moral reproach. While Tagle did not engage in direct confrontation with President Duterte, he used his position as Archbishop to express a strong moral critique of the extrajudicial killings. Unlike some of his fellow clergy members who were more outspoken in their condemnation of Duterte, Tagle's approach was characterized by cautious yet firm criticism. He sought to avoid political confrontation, instead framing the issue within the broader context of moral principles. In 2016, Tagle made public statements linking the extrajudicial killings to a broader moral issue, murder. In a homily, he remarked that all forms of murder, including the extrajudicial killings associated with Duterte's war on drugs, were inherently wrong. His condemnation of the killings was not just an expression of opposition to Duterte's policies, but also a broader call to recognize the sanctity of human life, a central tenet of Catholic teachings. Tagle's language was rooted in Catholic doctrine, where the Church firmly upholds the dignity of every human life, and no person, regardless of their circumstances, should be deprived of their life through violent means. Tagle was careful to avoid making his stance overtly political. He did not engage in direct criticism of Duterte's administration in a confrontational manner, but rather emphasized the need for dialogue and respect for human dignity. His position was informed by the belief that the Church's role was not to engage in political battles, but to be a moral compass, challenging society to live according to higher ethical standards. Ethical call for respect and dignity. One of the hallmarks of Tagle's response to Duterte's war on drugs was his insistence on a dialogue that respected the dignity of every individual, even those involved in criminal activities. In numerous public addresses and statements, he reiterated that no person should be dehumanized or treated as expendable. Tagle emphasized the need for justice, not through violence or indiscriminate killings, but through legal and ethical processes that respected human rights. His careful diplomatic stance was designed to engage with the government, urging respect for human dignity without directly inciting conflict. In a country where the Church has historically held a strong influence, Tagle's position underscored the importance of maintaining a constructive relationship with the government, even when profound disagreements existed. He did not shy away from speaking truth to power, but his method remained rooted in compassion and a desire for reconciliation rather than confrontation. Tagle also underscored that it was essential for the Church to be a moral voice in the midst of a heated political climate, especially as the issue of extrajudicial killings became a significant point of tension between the government and human rights organizations. By framing his opposition in terms of a moral imperative, Tagle made it clear that the Church's stance was not political, but a matter of faith and conscience. His call for justice was not limited to the condemnation of the extrajudicial killings, but also a plea for deeper societal transformation, one where the root causes of drug abuse and crime could be addressed through rehabilitation, education, and social reform rather than violent punishment. Legacy of compassionate leadership. Tagle's response to Duterte's war on drugs is emblematic of his broader leadership style, which combines theological depth, compassion, and a commitment to social justice. While he carefully avoided direct confrontation, his actions conveyed a clear message: the Church cannot remain silent when it comes to the sanctity of life and the fight for human dignity. His calls for dialogue, respect, and a return to ethical principles were grounded in a vision of a society where justice is achieved not through violence but through care, understanding, and the recognition of the inherent worth of every person. In many ways, Tagle's leadership during this period reflected the values he had championed throughout his career: faith, compassion, and the pursuit of justice for all people, especially the most vulnerable. While the Duterte administration's war on drugs sparked significant controversy and division, Tagle's response to the crisis reinforced the idea that the president's role is not to wield power, but to guide society toward a more humane and just future. His efforts remain a testament to the transformative potential of faith-based leadership in the face of profound moral and societal challenges. Role: interfaith dialogue and global peace. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle has been a prominent figure in the Catholic Church, particularly in the realms of interfaith dialogue and the promotion of global peace. His efforts towards fostering mutual respect and understanding among different religious communities have earned him a role as a leading voice for religious cooperation in an increasingly polarized world. Dialogue for religious harmony. As a cardinal, Tagle has consistently advocated for interfaith dialogue as a means to bridge the gaps between diverse religious traditions. He has emphasized the importance of mutual respect and understanding in promoting harmony across different faiths. For Tagle, interfaith dialogue is not about compromising one's own beliefs, but rather about engaging with others with an open heart and mind, and recognizing that we all share a common humanity. His efforts have been crucial in fostering peaceful coexistence, especially in regions affected by religious conflict. Zayed Award for Human Fraternity. Tagle's participation in the Zayed Award for Human Fraternity ceremony in Abu Dhabi is another testament to his commitment to peace-building. This prestigious award, named after the founding father of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, recognizes individuals who have made exceptional contributions to human fraternity. During the ceremony, Tagle spoke about the necessity of respecting all religious convictions while remaining firm in one's own faith. His message of peace and fraternity resonated with leaders from various religious backgrounds, showcasing his belief in the power of dialogue to create global peace. Encouraging fraternity in secular societies. Cardinal Tagle has also been an advocate for the role of religion in public life, particularly in the face of growing secularism in many parts of the world. He warns against relegating religion to the private sphere, emphasizing that faith has a significant role to play in building social cohesion and unity. Through his calls for fraternity, Tagle encourages religious leaders to speak out and counter the rise of secularism, urging societies to recognize the importance of moral and spiritual values in fostering a sense of shared responsibility and collective well-being. And there you have it. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, at 76, has finally admitted what many of us have long suspected. His powerful words and actions are a testament to his deep commitment to global peace, interfaith dialogue, and a more inclusive church. What do you think about his latest admission? Do you agree with his perspective on these pressing issues? If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on more stories about influential figures and their impact on the world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Also, leave your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And if you found this video insightful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let's continue the conversation on how we can all contribute to a more peaceful and compassionate world. Thanks for watching.